reason I decided to do a PhD is actually because of the work-life balance it's helped me achieve. I'm able to run around with my son and I've really gotten to bond with him. And I don't think I would have done that otherwise. It's been fun, except for when he's being a savage little Now, there is a prerequisite that you actually have to like doing research to go on and do a PhD. I always knew that I did because I'd spent a fair amount of time in med school actually doing some and I enjoyed doing it then. Just before I decided, I was actually doing A&E and then I did, vascular surgery, And essentially I was a glorified secretary. So I basically decided I wanted to take a break before I carried on writing very poorly written discharge summaries for all the patients. I'd actually gotten married just before as well, and I hadn't really had the time to kind of spend with wifey because of A&E and because of some busy rotations. So I really want to take some time out before I actually went back into training where I knew I was going to be hammered on the on-call rota. And so this was a perfect opportunity for me. PhD has given me a lot of flexibility with what I do with my time, and I've spent a lot of that with family. And I'll still be putting points on my CV, which will help me further down the line. I've been able to see his first steps, lots of tantrums, lots of other cool stuff. So it's been fun. Now, of course, these are all my experiences. PhDs vary greatly. They're very, very supervisor dependent. So although I've had a lot of flexibility, I know people who haven't had that same luxury. As part of my research, I get to play around with some quite cool tech, basically pretend I'm an expert in it. And it's been fun becoming an expert in something very niche. There are some bad things about doing a PhD. Now, I was completely external to Imperial, which is where I'm doing my PhD, but even I'd heard of the politics and the snakes that reside here. Shots fired. To be honest, it's not been that bad because I've got some good people around me and I've made some nice friends. But you do have to be good at the dark arts to delicately navigate some of these avenues. I am not a delicate man. Some of the other problems that a lot of us have faced are the tuition fees. Tuition fees have been a sore spot for all of us. When we first joined, we weren't actually told anything about this when we got selected to do our PhDs. And then later when we were told that these would be heavily discounted. But we later found out that actually every previous cohort has had the same struggle. It's just that the struggle gets harder every year. We're still arguing about the fees with the tuition fee office, and well, let's see what happens. PhDs are very, very self-directed, and no one else is really going to do the work for you. So this works well for my personality. I don't need direct supervision. I can work quite well independently. But if you're not that person, you might struggle a little bit. Now, there are times that I've spent scratching my head and figuring things out has taken months, where sometimes if you find the right person, they can actually just solve all that for you. The question is, am I glad I'm doing it? With my life, it's worked out really well, with starting a family, with the flexibility it's given me. Would I recommend doing a PhD at this place for other people? Maybe. Now, if you're content knowing the tuition fee office will f*** you over and the fees have gone up and you don't mind dealing with the dark arts of politics, then maybe. I got to work with pretty cool tech. This place has some very influential names that can open a lot of doors for you and help you become independent researchers, which is kind of the whole point of doing a PhD. I would say for me it's done that, but there are probably other places that can do that too. But that's the whole point of doing a PhD, and that shouldn't really be institution dependent. Your supervisors can either make or break your PhD. So if you don't have someone who's a particularly good supervisor or someone that you don't get along with, that can make things quite troublesome. Fortunately for me, I've not been in that position yet.